Hi, my name is Kimberly Gottschalk. I am reporting from the AGU 2015 fall meeting. It is Wednesday, December 16th. Definitely went to a lot of things today. I'm going to try to cover some of it. I went to a talk called A Million Miles from Earth, Advancing Earth, that was on the L1 Discover satellite. And Al Gore actually gave that talk. He introduced the talk. And then there's a panel of scientists from NASA and other government agencies that were there. And it was an absolutely incredible talk, and I'm really glad I made it in. I went over to a workshop called Opportunities Beyond Academia. It was hosted by ESWN and AWG. And that was a career panel of women scientists in the private industry and in federal agencies. And so they introduced themselves, and then they actually came out and each one sat at a table with us so we could have small roundtable discussions with them. And then we were able to get up as we pleased and then walk around to another table and sit down and talk with them as well. And Dr. Latoya Miles, who was a lead researcher for physical scientist at NOAA, and she was absolutely incredible hearing her story. Dr. Don Wright, the chief scientist at Esri, was there, and she was actually very close to Portland. She used to teach oceanography and geography and a lot of GIS over at OSU, and then actually left OSU and went into the private sector and went to work for Esri, works as chief scientist over there. And one of the interesting things that she had said was that they actually have a lot of places, where I know a lot of you are community health majors at Build Exito, and they have a lot of different places where those community health majors could actually go into. They do community resilience and vulnerability mappings, and they actually have a disaster response team that goes into the field after, for example, the earthquake in Nepal, and actually map the area there after the disaster and locate points of populations that are most vulnerable after the disaster, and then they hand over that information to NGOs that are working there. So I thought that was really neat. There's also a lot of other people there. Dr. Mona Bell, she's the director at Georgia Sea Grant College program, and she spoke about different organizations and different opportunities, fellowships that a lot of people could apply for. And I'll have more information about that when I get back to Portland State if you'd like to talk to me about that. I went over and sat in on the Association of Polar Early Career Scientists, and they spoke about how they got into polar research, and it was really interesting hearing them. They came from a lot of different backgrounds. One of the director of the programs there in Antarctica, he actually, after college, he decided to hitchhike and ended up in Alaska, where he worked for a friend of his doing, basically going out and looking for gold. And then ended up loading freight onto a seaplane, and they were hiring people to do polar research and to go out into the field, and he went, sure, I can do that, and then got into polar research. And there were a lot of stories that were quite like that. So there are a lot of different opportunities. There are so many opportunities here to go and see these other research fields and see those things that you're interested in. Definitely is interesting seeing that there are a lot of things that you never really think of. That there are these other fields that you may not think you have interest in, but talking to a lot of these scientists at this conference, they started off in one field and then took a field class in something else, or went over for a summer and worked with someone, and then their entire academic career went into a completely new direction. Later on this evening, there was actually an event called Ignite, and Ignite was held at an offsite location, and it was very brief talks by scientists, so about 2 to 5 minute talks, and their slides were timed. So even if they weren't finished talking about that slide, they would move on to the next slide, and they had to actually present the research how they would to a general audience. And I won some astronaut ice cream. The Ignite program is actually put on by NASA and AGU, so that was a lot of fun, and something I would definitely check out if you're ever here. And topics range from, air pollution, air quality, to what would happen if there was a large solar flare that came into contact with Earth, and that was a little scary, seeing some of those visuals. But there also was a lot of really exciting new research and new technology that they presented too, and it was very humorous. There was a lot of pictures of llamas, and one that had the crowd roaring with laughter. So it was a good time, and there's a lot of different events. It's not all just dry and cut talks. They also do a lot of interactive things as well. Then there are more things I'll be sharing with you over the course of these next few videos, and then also when I get back to Portland State, I'll be available for any questions that you have. I hope you'll join me tomorrow as I go through day 4, so Thursday's events. I have a lot of other workshops planned for tomorrow, so it'll be great.